Cameras on, ready to roll. Lights, camera, action. Welcome back to the Dean's List. Congrats. Your savings just took another 25 basis point haircut last week. Woohoo. That's what the Fed can do. It takes all your precious savings across banks, money markets, your brokerage accounts, and decides that overnight you're going to get 0.25% less in interest. And it's not as much as the last cut, which was 0.5%. But now 0.5% plus 0.25%, we're talking about some serious haircut here. So we're going to talk about an incredibly important topic. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell. I think you guys, the investor universe, are anxious to find out if Trump can really fire this guy before his term ends, or can he influence the Fed's decisions in other ways? So I want to hear from you. Please send your comments. Obviously, I want your likes and your follows, but comment down below about what you think Trump can actually do to Powell and whether this is something worth worrying about for investors.
Some of the president-elect's advisors have suggested that you should resign. If he asked you to leave, would you go?
No.
Can you follow up on, do you think that legally you're not required to leave?
No.
Powell made it clear this week he is not stepping down. And it's not just his personal stance the law supports it. He's taken a page out of Trump's playbook, by the way, and going on the offensive like the president, right? The president doesn't play defense. He plays offense. And the Federal Reserve Act does not allow the president to remove a Fed chair without cause. And so we say cause, it means something, really, really serious. It's not a disagreement over policy. It's misconduct, ethical violations. Think like Nancy Pelosi insider trading. Just kidding. It's not a difference in economic philosophy. Now, my take is the Fed under Powell's leadership has done an amazing job. They've managed monetary policy for the last 18 months. And despite facing high inflation and fluctuating indicators, these guys and gals have managed to guide us to the soft landing that everybody wanted and thought was impossible. 99% of the folks out there, whether they're experts or novices, amateurs, did not think a soft landing was possible. So for me, a scenario where inflation comes under control, doesn't tip the economy into recession, is a balancing act they accomplished beautifully. It's no small feat. Give them a prize, right? Give them a round of applause. Come on, even Trump, he's got to believe that these guys have done a good job. So if Trump wants to antagonize Powell, and I get the sense that he does, because Powell's been a really calm, chill, measured dude up to this point. Why go on the offensive at that press conference? I know he was asked, but he could have just deflected. So is Trump going to apply undue pressure on the Fed? That could rattle markets, and they've gained confidence from Powell's steady approach. Stability matters, and investors need to know monetary policy is not going to shift wildly based on political influence. So Trump would do well to tread carefully here. I think he will, because he himself knows it's a risk worth avoiding. He's very sensitive to what the Dow and the S&P are doing on a daily basis, right? He's watching very closely for hints about his own likability and electability. Right. He's very sensitive to opinions about him. So markets are discounters. We talk about that a lot. Right. And currently they don't believe this is a threat for 2025. Let's keep an eye out for any shifts in behavior once that administration gets going. Trump's options to influence the Fed are limited, but not non-existent. So he might not be able to remove Powell outright, but there are a few strategic moves available to him. Let's go through those. Number one. Appointment power. So he can wield influence over the Fed by appointing like-minded members to fill vacancies. Right now, there are no vacancies on the Board of Governors. So these appointments still require Senate confirmation. And with Republicans controlling the Senate, probably not that difficult. Number two, my favorite, public pressure. This is what Trump loves, right? He is the best at managing the media and turning the media's attention to himself and turning and flexing it in a way that benefits him. So we've seen this before. He could easily use this public platform to criticize Powell and the Fed, puts pressure to adopt policies that are more in line with what he wants, right? So if he wants interest rates to come down, he could talk them down and talk the Fed down by appearing on all the various shows that he's used to appearing on, right? Putting out tweets and other social media posts and getting markets to feel like this needs to happen. So during his first term, Trump was vocal about wanting lower interest rates. Oh, you remember that, 2017, 2018. And it pushed Powell hard to cut rates, right? He was influenced by Trump the last time. And so we got to remember that public pressure creates market expectations. That gets the Fed to do things they may not have necessarily agreed with. So number 3 is legislative changes. I don't love this one. Yes, Trump can pursue changes to the Federal Reserve Act itself. I'm not going to spend time on this unlikely scenario. Just know that it exists. Public service announcement, the Federal Reserve, their independence is one of the cornerstones of U.S. economic policy. The courts have a long history of narrowly interpreting the provision that allows the removal of board members for cause, which further reinforces the Fed's autonomy. As an investor, it's crucial to understand these dynamics, but don't let them dictate rash moves in your portfolio. Thanks everyone for tuning in to the Dean's List today. If you found this segment insightful, please like and subscribe. Really helps us. And I'd love to hear from you. Do you guys think Trump will be able to influence Powell in the Fed's direction effectively? Is it a good idea? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you next time. We're going to continue to make sense of these turbulent times together. I'm looking forward to 2025.